G'day folks, it's Rob here and welcome to this week's update vlog. This week we're having a bit of a look at a small harvest from the Aquaponics and just explain how we like to harvest the Brazilian spinach. Also an update on the coconut, the renovations that are happening on the house. I know I've been going on about it for a while, but yeah, a little bit of an update on that. After that, I thought I'd give you a bit of a look at a couple of goodies I picked up from the Brisbane Garden and Plant Expo out at Doomben Racecourse yesterday. We got there a little bit late to catch up on a lot of the talks, but got to pick up a few bits and pieces, chat to a few folks, and also give you a bit of a wander down the back just to show you some of the gingers, the papaya and the coffee. I was asked how the coffee was going yesterday, so a little bit of an update on that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little bit of an update I shot early on in the week, and I'll chat to you at the end. How's it going, folks? Just brought the bowl down to knock off a couple of greens for dinner. We're going to have a ginger, lemongrass and beef stir fry, and I would like some bok choy for it, so we're going to take those two and maybe one from somewhere else to pop in there, and some of this Brazilian spinach that's starting to get hit by those blooming army caterpillars again, so I'll give it a bit of a cut back and use any edible greens, and a couple of bits of mushroom herb and bits and pieces, but I'll give you a bit of a look at that at the end. First, before we hook into the harvest, so I just wanted to give you folks a bit of an update on the renovations we've got planned. I did mention on our YouTube community tab and also over on Patreon, I think, that we're downsizing the renovations. Some of you folks have been going, you've been talking about this for years. I can hear you right now. It's just one of those things. We had to help some family members out financially and some other things have cropped up, but we're onto it this year. Hopefully it'll be done well before the end of the year. What we were going to do was replicate upstairs, downstairs. So basically we'd have two houses. So when we moved out, the girls could have one floor each. We've decided to can that idea because it's just too expensive, and I basically would be towards the end of my working career or life before we'd pay it out. So we've downsized it. We're still going to have an area that we can do workshops and have people over to have a bit of a gander at the aquaponics and that sort of thing. That's still on the cards. We're just knocking off a couple of bedrooms and a large workshop, and we're just going to have a small lounge room and some storage area and a small workshop for me. Also had a few people ask about the coconut. Unfortunately, as you can see there's a big crack that goes all the way through to the nut itself, so I don't think it's viable. Actually got a little bit whiffy there for a little while, so yeah, no go with this one here. I'm going to pop it in the compost heap, but I don't think it's going to break down somehow. But I have been told that you can grow from a store-bought nut, so that might be something I have a crack at. I don't know about it yet. The reason I wanted this one here is because it came from a small tree, and I definitely don't want something that's going to end up being, 10 plus meters tall here. Maybe 4 or 5 I could handle, but that's about it. But yeah, I'll stop nattering on. I'll flip the camera back around and we'll have a bit of a look at the harvest. So I'll just snip these guys off tonight. I don't have a tripod to put the phone on, unfortunately. But there's two decent sized little bok choys there. There's a couple of manky leaves over the back, a couple of holes left by caterpillars, but that's nothing major. We can strip them off. So two nice little bits of green there. I actually don't think we're going to need much more. I'll just snip off some of this Brazilian spinach, as I said, and we'll be using ginger from the freezer. Oh, and I also do need to grab a stalk of lemongrass. So I'll finish collecting some of these greens and then I'll give you all a little bit of a look at the end. So there we go, folks, there's the harvest. A couple of bok choy from the Aquaponics. I snipped a few of the little leaves off that one there because it was looking a bit manky. A nice bowl full of the Brazilian spinach and a couple of sunshine chilies for myself. I'll share with Bianca if she feels like some chili tonight, and some lemongrass. I do a really fine slice on the lemongrass and then I mince it all up, and just so you don't get any chewy fibrous bits in the meal. So that's pretty much all it. I actually had some folks on the last Patreon hangout ask if I could show how we harvest bits and pieces from the patch a little bit more in the clips. So I'll just give you a quick one with this Brazilian spinach. It's pretty much all a creeper. I'm not too sure if I can show you over the back here if the little smoothie is going to throw a little bit of a tantrum. But what this plant does here, it actually will set down roots wherever it goes. So there's a whole new plant there that's come from another branch. So what I've been doing, oh there's another one too, it's just stuck down a few small roots. What I've been doing is just pretty much all trying to harvest all the satellite bits and pieces with the Brazilian spinach, or then coming back and just snipping off, say, a branch just like this one here from one of the main stems, and that's pretty much all how I've been trying to manage it and also harvest it for meals. I did find a fair few of those blooming caterpillars in there, the little army ones, so I think I'm going to have to come out and hit this with dipel. It worked really well for the last round of bugs we had on here, or sorry, caterpillars we had on here. If only it would work for the slugs and the grasshoppers, we might end up with a decent head of wombok out of one or two of these. We've just been caned by the locusts. I found a big brown one on the leaf of that turmeric over there this morning, and another one hiding out over there. So they're pretty much all just caning everything. You don't need to hear me whinge about that. So those renovations I mentioned on the house will affect how we garden out the back here. A couple of beds are going to have to move, and we're already intending on pulling some out. Bianca and I were chatting, I think I mentioned in the last update that we will be removing some garden beds and replacing it with a new aquaponic system there. It'll be standalone from the existing one, which means I need to move the chicken shed a little bit further back, so I'm sort of glad I haven't knocked off that job yet. So that will be the next focus here. Other than making those aquaponic clips, we'll be knocking together the chicken coop. On to the goodies we picked up from the show. Well, the first one may not excite a lot of people, but it does me. A nice new basket, a woven basket with some handles on the side. Make it easy to hang up and pop out of the way, unlike the other baskets we have. Some other bits and pieces we got were the brassicas. I got a couple of brassicas from Forget Me Not Heritage Seeds up at Nango. G'day, Sandy. She pointed out that she's got the broccoletti, which is the heirloom variety of broccolini. Broccolini is an F1 hybrid, so saving the seeds can be very touch and go. This one here though is a heirloom variety, so you can save the seeds and then grow it on for yourself. So thank you very much, Sandy, chuffed about that. The other thing I got was a lesser cardamom. So there's a couple of different cardamoms around, and I've been assured that this one here, this variety, will throw the cardamom pods that we use in cooking. They add a great flavour to a lot of different meals, both savoury and sweet meals. This actually grows to be a rather large plant, so it's something we're going to start off in the root pouch, and then after the renovations I'll pop it out. I've actually got a spot down this side of the house near where the moringa tree is that I'll pop this in eventually. It's said to take about 3 to 4 years before you actually start to see the flowers and the pods, so it's a bit of a long-term one, but it will make a nice feature plant as well. Plus I suppose I can always chop and drop the greens as we need them. And the other thing I don't actually have here, because I didn't want to bring it outside, is some fungus, some mushrooms. We got it from, if I can just read the name, the Wollumbin Gourmet mushroom stand at the show. I'll put a link to their Facebook page and website down below. We got some shiitake logs. I got 4 of them, 2 for us and 2 for a mate. The other one was some shimji mushroom bags, which I again gave to Mark, and I got some pink oyster mushrooms for ourselves. So I didn't want to bring them out here because it's a little bit too bright. So I have to read up on them. I've got a rough idea of how I have to look after the shiitake logs, and the oysters, I think I know where I'm going to pop them, somewhere nice and secluded. That's enough nattering on about the show. I'll hook up the mobile phone to the Smoothie Pro. We'll take a bit of a wander down the back and I'll show you the coffee and the papaya. Just quickly, I have had some people ask about the spices yet again, so I will be doing an update this week looking at the aquaponic spices, the turmeric and gingers. Rather nice stand there, as well as some of the others like the black turmeric down here in this little pouch. But for now I thought I'd give you a quick look at the coffee. The coffee beans are doing really well. We had one fall off that little branch down there, but the rest are going fine. We've got a lot of side branches coming through, new growth, and up in there we've got a load of coffee as well. So yeah, we'll get a 1.5 cups out of this little one. This is growing in a 56 litre root pouch at the moment. It started off its life in a 30 litre one. It was absolutely amazing when I potted it up. There was no root boundness whatsoever. Had a very healthy little root ball, so really am sold on these little root pouches. Just down the back, some more gingers I'll show you in another clip. But this papaya is doing really well. So just to give you a look at some of the sizes of these fruit, these guys are absolutely massive. I'm really looking forward to taking a few of these off. I pulled off a couple through the week, and one's already been eaten and the other's ripening up just about now, so I might have some of that for dessert tonight. I am really enjoying these red papaya, and I mean this plant here, as you may know, is a volunteer. It came up all by itself in this turmeric bed, and it's doing phenomenally well as far as I'm concerned. It's got a nice healthy trunk on it. The one concern I do have is being in a wicking bed it isn't too stable. It can't send out roots in all directions, so it's got a little bit of a lean on it, and I'm thinking about getting a little bit of a harness just to wrap around it, and we'll tie it up against the mango tree. But yeah, a little bit of a quick look at the papaya. Just while we're looking at the trunk, above the leaf sections here we're getting little shoots, so hopefully we'll get a couple of branches we might be able to nick off and strike and create new plants. And just to show you down here, a bit of a sneak peek for the turmeric and ginger clip. This variety here has thrown its first flower ever for us, so pretty chuffed about that. Anyway, I'll pretty much will wrap it up. We're off to my brother-in-law's for his 40th birthday. Happy birthday, Paul. Before I go though, I really do need to thank all the marvellous folks over on Patreon. Thank you very much, folks. The super contributors list is down in the description below if you want to check out the Aquaponic store, guitar maker, IT firms, and other websites and Facebook pages. All the links down there, and click on them and show them some love. That'd be fantastic. And for everyone in the Northern Hemisphere, I really do hope that you're getting your start sorted and your gardens prepped, so your patch will look as green as this in the coming months. I will pretty much will leave it there though. I do hope you're well and happy, and I will catch you next clip. Cheers all! So we'll trace the water in the split flow system from the pump. It leaves the pump and goes to a Y or a T fitting where the flow is split into two loops. The first loop takes the water off to the fish tank, and there it mingles with the water already in the fish tank and is taken out via the solids lifting outlet through the drain work back into the sump. From there it's picked up again by the pump and it's delivered to the plant or hydroponic loop of the system.